Hello, everyone. Welcome to MSS Mentorship and Online Classes. Today, we are going to focus on financial reporting orientation session for March 2026 examination. This is Mohammed Sheikh Sisi, your tutor and your mentor. Financial reporting is a applied skill paper and it is a compulsory paper, although some students may have exemption relating to financial reporting. Financial reporting is considered to be one of the most important papers within the ACCA journey because it builds on the financial accounting concept and also it prepares students for the strategic business reporting examination, which is very much important at the professional level, and it is a compulsory paper. For you to become a chartered accountant, you need to pass your strategic business reporting examination. Now, as an accountant, you need to know your financial reporting because it will be used to prepare your financial statement. Also, as an auditor, or for you to become a better auditor, you need to have an in-depth understanding about financial reporting because you will be auditing the financial statements of your client. So therefore, for you to design an appropriate audit procedures and reduce the audit risks, you need to have an in-depth understanding about the financial reporting. Also, financial reporting creates knowledge linkages between other ACCA papers within the journey. For instance, if we are talking about audit and assurance or advanced audit and assurance, as a student, for you to pass your audit and assurance as well as advanced audit and assurance papers, you need to have in-depth understanding about IASs and IFRSs. Approximately 50% of the examination is subject to the interpretation and the understanding of your IASs and IFRSs when it comes to audit and assurance as well as AAA. It is very much important you have this knowledge about financial reporting. Also, it helps when we are talking about taxation as well as advanced taxation. For instance, if we are going to calculate the tax adjusted trading profit, then therefore we are going to use the profit generated from the business, which is the accounting profit. We are going to adjust this accounting profit to reflect the tax adjusted profit, which will be used by the tax authority to ensure they do their necessary calculations. Also, financial reporting is important when we are looking at the strategic business leader paper. For you to able to give an analysis about the impact of the business, about the impact of external sources that might have significant impact on the business, you need to know your financials. You need to know your statement of financial position. You need to know your income statement. You need to know the components of the financial statement. And you can able to have this knowledge by understanding the financial reporting. Also, financial reporting important because it has a link with relating to financial management. When you're talking about the investment appraisal, we need to use some elements of financial reporting in order for us to calculate our value or our investment into a business. Also, among the investment decisions, we are going to use the accounting concept, which is the IRR, to determine whether we need to, accept this investment or we need to reject this investment based on the concept of IRR. So these are some of the benefits of financial reporting. And as a student, especially an accounting student, this should be your greatest weapon that you are going to use, to build your professional development as well as your professional career. So you need to take the course serious and then you need to pay all the required attention relating to financial reporting. Also, financial reporting focuses on IFRSs as well as IASs, which is very much important. And also it focuses on the consolidated financial statements. We are going to look at the group structure within the company. Also, financial reporting focuses on the interpretation of the published financial information, how you can able to make a valuable decision from the financial information. For instance, from the gross profit margin, from the net profit margin, how the business can able, to interpret the figures within the financial statement for management to make informed and relevant decision. So now I have stated some of the benefits of financial reporting. Now we are going to go to the exam structure, which is very much important for financial reporting. The duration for the examination is 3 hours, and plus 10 minutes reading time. The 10-minute reading time is for the students to go through the various criteria within the computer-based examination. And also the 10 minutes cannot be added to the 3 hours. So if you complete the 10 minutes before the 10 minutes timing, then automatically your examination is going to start with the 3 hours, not the 3 hours plus the time you saved from the 10 minutes reading time that is given to you. So you need to understand that as well. Also, the current examination format for ACCA is a computer-based examination. You are going to take your examination through the utilization of computer. So this is just a warning advice for every student. Um, you need to see how best you can improve your typing skills, because it is very much important for you to be able to manage your time in the examination. Your typing skills need to be good. It needs to be good. The aspect of navigating between the computer-based examination, the platform, I'm going to give you that particular knowledge, and what you need to know about the utilization of the computer-based examination. Then we are going to look at the various sections within the examination, the breakdown of the allocated marks. Now we have section A. It contains 15 multiple choice questions. It can be subjective, it can be objective, it can be a drag down type question. These 15 marks questions, it contain 2 marks each. So section A contain a cumulative marks of 30 for section A. Section B, it has 3 case-based objective questions, 3 scenario, 5 questions each from each scenario, and the cumulative mark will be 30 marks. Also, we have section C, which it is a 2 constructed response question. Each question carry a 20 marks and a total of 40 marks. So the cumulative marks is 100 marks. The section C aspect of the examination, so let me start with the section A. Section A and section B will be tested in any of the syllabus areas. Section A, section B will be tested in any of the syllabus area, whether it is conceptual framework, whether it is a regulatory framework, whether it has to do with ISCs and IFRSs, whether it has to do with a group account, whether it has to do with analysis and interpretation of the financial statements. Section A and Section B questions can be drawn from any area within the syllabus. While for Section C, it's also but major in most cases, Section C questions can be from the group account. Either you have been asked to prepare an extract of the group financial statement, or you have been asked to prepare a profit and loss account for the group, or statement of financial position, whichever. Also, in most cases, the analysis and the interpretation of accounts of the financial statement also, can be tested under the section C. So basically, this is the exam structure. So now we are going to go the syllabus overview. We are going to look at the main areas within the financial reporting syllabus. Firstly, which I consider to be the most important area, it is the conceptual framework and the regulatory framework. And now the conceptual framework, it serves as the backbone of the accounting profession. For instance, if you are a Muslim, you need to know the Quran. You need to have something that you need to consult whenever you have certain decision you need to make. Same goes to the Christian. You need to consult your Bible for whatever decision you want to make. So for an accountant, whenever you want to make a decision in terms of whether you need to recognize this as an asset or whether you need to recognize it, or during the application of new accounting standards, you need to consult the conceptual framework because it gives the solid foundation and background on how you can treat a particular item in the financial statement. Now, for example, if we are talking about, let's look at the definition of assets. According to the conceptual framework, the definition of an asset, it contains three elements. One of the elements should be economic benefit. Another element should be the controllability. You need to control the asset. Then finally, it should be as a result of past events. So these are the three conditions for the definition of an asset. So now let's take an example. I'm looking at the leases, IFRS 16, for example. If we are talking about leases, leases, it will give the rights to use an asset, not the ownership of the asset. Now let's look at the controllability aspect of the definition and try to link it with the concept with the IFRS 16 standard for leases. Now, let's assume that I want to use or I want to lease your mobile phone, for example. You are the lessor, I am the lessee. In legal form, you own the asset, you own the phone. But because I want to use the phone, then I'm going to lease the phone from you. Automatically, I'm going to have the right to use the asset, but not the ownership of the asset. I'm just giving out an example. I'm going to have the right to use the assets rather than the ownership of the asset. So now, um, the conceptual framework is saying that you need to have controllability factor in the utilization of this particular asset. For instance, the lessor, who is the owner of the phone, told me that you need to use the phone from 7 a.m. in the morning to 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Thereafter, you should put the phone off and you don't need to use the phone till 7 a.m. back in the morning. So because of this condition that is attached to the lease agreement, automatically it implied that the lessee did not have absolute control over the utilization of the assets. So automatically, this is not in line with the standard because the standard, the conceptual framework is telling us that we need to have controllability factor within the lease agreement. So now the accounting standard is saying one thing and the conceptual framework is saying another thing. So as an accountant, you need to refer to the conceptual framework. In this situation, if the lessor did not give the absolute control to the lessee, then we are not going to treat this as an asset. We are not going to recognize the right to use the asset. Instead, we can recognize it according to IFRS 9 financial instruments. We can recognize it as a loan, whichever, depending to the situation. This is just an example. So this is the importance of the conceptual framework and the regulatory framework. Also, the regulatory framework sets out the standard, the compliance, looking at the International Accounting Standard Board and other regulatory requirements. Also, we are going to look at the accounting standard, which is the IASs and the IFRSs, which is very much important for you to know as a student. Now, as an accounting student, the IFRSs and IASs are your weapon. You need to know your accounting standards. You need to take them along with you anywhere you are going. You need to understand the financial reporting standards, IFRS and IASs. Also, we are going to look at the preparation of the financial statement, which is very much important. We need to know the components of the financial statement, which are the statement, the income statement, the statement of financial position, the statement of changes in equity, the cash flow statement, the notes to account. You as an accountant, you need to able to, to prepare the financial statement. Also, we are going to look at the group account. We are going to look at the relationship between the parent and the subsidiary. We are going to look at the relationship between the parent and the joint arrangement or the associate, whichever relationship exists. We are going to look at the group account, how we can, treat a group account separate from the um, normal individual account. Finally, the syllabus area, we are going to look at the analysis and interpretation of the account. This is a very important aspect for strategic level because the financial statement is a mere figures and calculation and assumption. So for it to be useful, for it to be used to make informed and strategic management decision, you need to be in that position to analyze, to interpret the figures within the financial statement. For example, if we are looking at the gross profit margin, then we need to look at the factors that contain within the gross profit margin. For instance, if there is an increase in sales, we need to know what are the factors that resulted to an increase in the sales. Or if there is a decrease in expenditure, we need to know as an accountant what are the factors that are responsible for the decrease in the revenue or decrease in the expenditure. So with the interpretation and the analysis of the figures within the financial statement, as an accountant, you really need to have this solid understanding about analysis and interpretation of the financial statement. Also, we are going to break the syllabus overview in depth, whereas we are going to look at the conceptual framework and regulatory framework. We are going to look at the qualitative characteristics of useful information. Then we are going to look at the financial reporting framework, as well as we are going to look at the International Accounting Standard Board conceptual framework in detail when we are going to do the online videos and classes. Also, we are going to look at the accounting standard, IFRS and IAS standards that relate to non-current assets. For instance, the IAS 16, IAS 38, IAS 40, IAS 36. Also, we are going to look at the accounting standards that relate to the current asset, which is IAS 2, IAS 10, IAS 37, IAS 20. We are going to look at the accounting standard that relates to liability and provision. Also, the accounting standards that relate to income and expenses. Also, we are going to go the preparation of financial statement, looking at the components of the financial statement, as well as looking at the elements of the financial statements. Then we are going to look at the group accounts, the consolidation. We are going to look at the relationship between the subsidiaries, the associates, and the joint arrangement. And also, if there is any intergroup transaction or intergroup adjustment, we need to know how to account and how to treat this intergroup transaction. Then also, we are going to look at the consolidated statement of profit and loss, as well as the P&L. These are all very important aspects of the financial reporting syllabus. Also, we are going to look at the analysis and interpretation of accounts. As I mentioned earlier, we are going to look at the ratio analysis. We are going to do some calculation, the gross profit margin, the net profit margin, the return on capital employed. We are going to look at the liquidity, acid test ratios. We are going to calculate to know based on the figures, what is the current situation of the company, whether it is, whether the company current status is profitable, based on the external and internal factors as well. So we are going to look at also the limitation of the ratio analysis because the whole of the financial statement figures, they are historical figures in nature, so they can't be used, to give a more realistic figures about the future. So that's why, in real life, we are doing and a forecast. You are doing F3 plus, which additional forecast you want to do, mix the forecast actual and the forecast as well. Also, we are going to look at the interpretation from the different stakeholders. When we are analyzing the financial statement, we need to look for the users of the financial statement and their interest. For instance, if we are analyzing the financial statement for, let's assume the community people, then therefore we are going to focus on the CRS as well as the issue of sustainability relating to the community. If we are going to interpret the financial statement for the shareholders, then we are going to focus on, going concern, profitability, and also we are going to focus on sustainability as well. If we are analyzing the financial statement relating to customers, relating to suppliers, we are going to analyze our liquidity position, as well as the the due diligence test for our customers. So these are the various things we are going to cover within the financial reporting, and I'm going to build a solid foundation for you so that you can able to to be a better student within the ACCA journey. And also we're going to look at the study plan, and which is very much important. This orientation is for March 2026 examinations, and we are going to start officially the 7th of October 2025, and it will last till the 28th of February 2026. But we are going to divide the session into two. We have the phase one, which will specifically focuses on the recorded video plus solving kids practice question, and we are going to conduct live online classes as well. So this is the first phase, and this phase will run from the 7th of October to the 30th of January. 4 consecutive months. We are going to do a detailed preparation, and we are going to complete the whole syllabus from the start to the finish of financial reporting within 4 months. And thereafter, we are going to the second phase of um, the study plan, which is the phase two. The whole of February, we are going to use it for mock exam practice. On a weekly basis, I'm going to give you mock and plus a feedback. You're going to submit the mock, then I'm going to mark the mock. I'm going to give you feedback to know, your strength and to know which area you need to focus more when it comes to the final day of the examination. So we are going to cover the mock for financial reporting the whole of February. So this is the study plan. And also we need to look at the skills the students need to have, especially as an accounting student. You need to be able to calculate the figures, IFRS and IESs, you know, they work around with figures. Your numerical aspect need to be in place, and then you need to apply IFRS in practice questions. So you need to prepare for your calculation, and also your analytical skills need to be good. As I mentioned earlier, in the examination, especially in section C, you will be given ratio and financial information. Then the examiner is expecting you to do some analysis about the figures within the questions. Also, which is very much important, you need to understand your exam technique, your time management. This is very much important, and it's the key to success. If you can manage your time well, then you can able to make the maximum scores out of the examination. For instance, each mark in the examination goes for 1.8 minutes. So you need to allocate. For instance, if you are going to solve questions that contain 10 marks, um, you need to allocate 1.8 minutes times 10 marks. So it means you need to spend 18 minutes on that particular question. So you don't need to spend above 18 minutes. When it's 18 minutes, you need to leave the question, whether you complete it or not. You need to leave the question and move to another question, because no matter how long you decided to spend on that particular question, you will not have above the 10 marks allocated to that particular question. If you decided to spend the whole of the day solving that particular question, you will not have above 10 marks for that particular question. So it is better you allocate your time properly to that particular question. Once it is 18 minutes, you need to leave that particular question. I can remember when I was attempting audit and advanced audit and assurance. The first question is 50 marks, which it takes half of the examination time. So I allocated 1 hour, 30 minutes strictly for question one. So I can remember when the time is up, 1 hour, 30 minutes, I did not cover the whole of the question. But to be frank, I leave the question unanswered, then I decided to proceed to other sections. So this is the decision you need to make in the examination, and this is the time management. That's why you need to understand the computer-based platform, and you need to improve on your typing skills as well. This will all, together help you to able to manage your time appropriately. Also, you need to know how to present your work. Your presentation, is very much important. You need to know the template you are going to use. For example, if you are asked to calculate, then you are going to use the Excel sheet that is provided for you in the examination. If you are asked to analyze a ratio, then you are going to use the Word document that is provided for you in the examination. You need to present your work in a more decent and a readable manner. For example, if you are asked to analyze the gross profit margin, the net profit margin, you need to place your heading. For instance, gross profit margin. Do all the analysis that is required for gross profit margin. Then when it comes to net profit margin, you also put your heading, net profit margin, and you do all the analysis that is required. So you need to present your work so that the examiner will understand that this particular paragraph, is for gross profit margin or net profit margin. Then also, we are going to the approach that we are going to use with MSS mentorship. We are going to have a weekly recorded videos, and then I'm going to submit the videos prior to the the class, which is very much important. Also, we are going to have a bi-weekly live online classes, so that we can able to ask questions. And also the live online classes will be specifically focused on solving questions and asking questions as well. I'm not going to use the live online classes for teaching in detail. It will be a strategic areas. We are going to look at key areas within, the subject matter, so we can able to expand and, broaden the understanding. So this is what we are going to do. Also, we are going to look at kit practice. We are going to look at past questions, and we are going to look at mock, and also the mentorship, which is very much important. You can call me. You can book appointment that you want to have time with me. Then we can see how we can schedule and discuss issues and see how best we can navigate within your understanding. And also, we are going to look at the study strategy, which is very much important. And one of the strategy, you need to attend all sessions, and also you need to keep to your weekly plan. For instance, week one, if we are going to cover the conceptual framework and the regulatory framework, you need to study, you need to attend the classes, you need to attend the sessions, and you need to study conceptual framework for that week. You need to solve all questions relating to conceptual framework for that week. Also, you need to practice daily, which is very much important. You need to solve multiple choice questions daily. You need to solve your section C questions as well. Also, as a student, you need to have a notebook to summarize your key points when you are studying, your key ISs, your key IFRSs, what you need to know. You need to summarize them so that the final day of the examination, you can able to revise the whole of the course structure within an hour or within a 30 minutes time. Also, we are going to review the examiner report, which is very much important. And as looking at the examiner's report, we are going to get feedback from the examiner. Also, we are going to read the mindset of the examiners, what the examiners are expecting from you in the examination, what are their expectation with regards to how you are going to answer this particular subject area, which is very much important. And also, we are going to look at the time management technique, 1.8 minutes per mark. And also, we are going to stay exam focused. We are going to practice under time condition. For example, during the mock session, we are going to use 3 hours, and we are going to allocate various questions along their marks as well. If the question is 10 marks, we need to allocate 18 minutes. If the question is 30 marks, we need to allocate the allocated time that is required for that particular number of marks, which is very much important. So I'm going to leave you with a closing message. You need to take the closing message along with you. Financial reporting is not just about memorizing the accounting standard. It's not about going around with the accounting standard, but you need to know your accounting standard as well. In the examination, it is not compulsory for you to quote the accounting standard, say this is IAS 16, no, but you can interpret the accounting standard. Financial reporting is all about applying the accounting standards to real life situation, real life scenario. And also, you need to stay consistent in your studies. You need to stay consistent in your practice. You need to practice regularly. And also, you need to take the guide from your mentorship, which is very much important. I'm giving you the mentorship based on past experience from me, from myself, and from some of my colleagues, who are also